I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Wednesday, June the 15th, brought to you in part by Ever Ag Insurance Services. For all your ag insurance needs, whatever they may be, LRPs, DRPs, LGMs, and PRF. Also, advisory services to buyers and sellers of grain, and Vault software technology. For more information, go to ever.ag. Regional beef packers aggressive, and I mean on a Tuesday. And I told you guys many times and will continue to tell you, there's only one reason that packers go out looking for cattle on a Monday or a Tuesday. It's because they are short bought and they need cattle badly. And it wasn't just your regionals. Your majors were out there too. Of course, they ended up having to pay more than they wanted because the regionals getting so aggressive and digging for cattle, especially top grading cattle, because most of your regionals, they feature, a top quality product. So they have to find the best cattle out there, and they're willing to pay for them because they know they're going to get paid for them. That's kind of the way things are supposed to work. But we saw last week your top price for the best grading cattle out there, and there's not a lot of top grading cattle available out there, but last week's top price was $145. On Tuesday morning, we saw $145 being paid readily. After the board was down pretty big on Monday, we saw some correction on that on Tuesday, but on Tuesday morning, $145 was paid by regionals. It didn't take hardly any time at all before it was $148, and then eventually $149, and not just on a big long string of 1,600 head of South Dakota origin, top quality 1,625 pound steers with 190 days of feeding on them. So, cattle like that, they demand a better price. You don't have to have an AMA to get it. You can ask more for the cattle. They'll pay you more for the cattle when they need them. And your majors ended up paying as much as $230 dressed, which is the top price that we saw regionals giving last week. But just a real aggressive and a real active fed cattle market in a direct basis in your 5-area feeding region, really going on to cattle in the fringes around the outside of the 5 area too. Of course, whenever they pay more for those cattle, it doesn't get reported into your weighted average, and it doesn't cost them more on all the formula cattle that they get that use that weighted average as a base price. But had a great turnout in Ogallala, Nebraska on Tuesday evening there at Front Street for the local affiliate of Nebraska Cattlemen's Association. We had the Nebraska Cattlemen's Association president on hand. She did a great job of presenting to the people and telling us what the Nebraska Cattlemen is doing to help push the Cattle Price Discovery and Transparency Act, working with Deb Fisher and Deb Fisher staffers on the wording of the bill and getting support for it. And like I told you on our last visit, we've got U.S. Cattlemen's Association leadership in Washington, D.C. on a fly-in this week. Justin Tupper said that he had good vibes coming back from lawmakers and the Secretary of Agriculture there on getting this deal pushed through. We continue to get significant resistance from National Corporate Beef Association. They put out a press release early in the week. They were urging voters to vote no on the special investigators bill that's coming up here right away for vote in the House, because it got marked up in your Ag Committee here recently and goes on to your House members to vote on. And NCBA is saying that the market has already recovered. We don't need this. We don't need this bill. We don't need to give the Packers and Stockyards Administration, or what's left of it, the power to subpoena to investigate these packers on some of the things that they've already acknowledged that they've done wrong. And we've seen JBS already pay $50-some million to settle a suit, or just get the investigators that were there to go away, and they don't even have enough power to really get the deal done. We're still waiting on the other 3 of the big 4 to come in and pay their share of the wrongdoings there. So we're trying to get something done here. It's just frustrating that we have TCFA, KLA, and NCBA fighting against us with every step when everybody wants it. Even your sweetheart guys with the formula deals, they want it too. They just can't say it out loud. They're scared to death of the Packers. But they know that if we got this Cattle Price Discovery and Transparency Act deal done, and your Packers would have to participate more in negotiated trade, it would spur competition, spur activity, and eventually spur your cash price that all your other cattle are sold off of from a base price. So it would be a good deal for everybody, especially your backgrounders and your cow-calf producers. It would keep this industry viable as we know it. And we already know that if we don't get something done here within a couple of years, we're going to see your trade completely dry up in the Texas feedlot areas. What are they going to base their price off of then? They'll want to do it off the 5-area feeding region weighted average, and the Packers in Texas will probably say, no, you guys cattle aren't near that good. We're going to pay you what we want to pay you, and you're going to take it. And you're not going to throw a fit. So we'll see how things work out here. But we just had a great crowd there at Front Street there in Ogallala. Had a lot of people that were knowledgeable about the subject. We had some of the biggest negotiated cattle feeders on hand there. We just had a nice rounded out group there, and they were all poised to get something done here. And they're all pushing behind that, and they are voicing the Nebraska Cattlemen's Association's view of trying to get price transparency, competitiveness in your fed cattle arena. And we just hope that we can get something done here, because we've got a very, very small window to get this done. Like it or not, we have to get this done while we still have a Democratic administration. And likely the Democratic administration is not going to have a lot of say after we get through the midterms. So we've got from now until then to get something done here. And I know that most of you guys watching this are conservatives. I am too. But we've got to get some of this done. And if we wait much longer, your cattle market is recovering. It deserves to recover. You guys deserve to make money. You don't have to ask forgiveness for making some money and being profitable. But if we let the cattle market get a whole lot better, then we're not going to get any sympathy from anybody, and like we're not going to get much push even from the guys that want this. So we've got to get this done right now, and time's a wasting. Let's talk about your board. On Tuesday, June live cattle futures recovered some, up $1.20 at 135.20. Still trading at a huge discount to what our cash price is, and we're over halfway through the month of June right here, and it's just getting ridiculous how your live cattle futures contract, when we get into the spot traded month, will not keep up with your fed cattle market when cash is trading at a premium. Now it'll back off of that whenever the futures are trading at a premium, because we have people deliver on there. But we're not getting a whole lot of complaints from your hedged feeder, because that's basis for them to put in their pocket, but it holds the market back, people. August live cattle futures up 20 cents at 134.07. Now you see your June live cattle contracts are going to have to come up here. So you short-term traders, you day traders, it's time to get on the long side of that, because by the end of the week or early next week, it will be a whole lot closer to your cash weighted average, and we're likely going to gain ground again next week. So it's time to get in, ride that up $4 or $5, put that in your pocket, and just chalk it up for an easy gain right there. Your back months on live cattle futures, up 7 cents to up $1.07, and that $1.07 was for next October, not this coming October. Feeder cattle contracts, August, feeder cattle down just 2 cents at 171.30. September down a quarter at 173.35. Back months on feeder cattle down 45 cents to up 12 cents, but open interest is extremely low in your cattle futures right now, and it doesn't take very much activity to move the market one way or the other. It's a very, very shallow pool. Talk about your grain futures, which are much heavily traded. Corn, Chicago Board of Trade futures down a penny at 7.68 1/4 cents. Beans down 9 at 16.98 1/2. Kansas City hard red winter wheat down 19 1/2 at 11.42 1/4 cents a bushel. That's at the end of regular trading on Tuesday. Fat cattle trade was fairly active on Tuesday. You know, for a Tuesday after an up market last week that we weren't expecting. But I tell you what, these packers are short bought, and their show lists are not only current, they're green, because we've been pulling cattle ahead, especially in the northern plains. They're green, and it just costs too much to truck them going too far down into the southern plains to get them up here where they need the cattle. So we're seeing a higher fat cattle market, and we deserve to see it. We weren't expecting it though, because we keep getting these cattle on feed reports that says we got all-time record high numbers of cattle on feed. Well, we've run plumb out of cows, and so we got some of our cow killers getting into the fed cattle arena. We've got our regional packers very aggressive for cattle, and that's just the way it goes. We've got tight numbers. I don't care if we do have a lot of cattle on feed. We've got extremely tight numbers of cattle and hardly any cattle outside the feedlots. Iowa had confirmed sales on Tuesday of 2,800 head, live sales 141 to 145, dress sales 224 to 230. Nebraska 7,300 head confirmed on Tuesday, and live sales from 144 all the way up to 149 that we talked about. You know, that's $4 higher on the top side of that. Some dress sales at 223, which is a basis jumper there. Kansas had confirmed sales of 1,300 head from 137 to 139, which was up close to the Nebraska border, and wasn't too far to go up to some of those northern kills, northern slaughter facilities in Nebraska. Texas, 2,100 head confirmed, mostly all on the Fed Cattle Exchange, and mostly all consigned by Five Rivers. And I know what you guys are thinking. I'm thinking the same thing. But from 136 to 136 1/2, I'm not sure why they needed to do that whenever late sales last week were 137. Box beef cutout values were lower, and I guess we've seen them top for the short term, and now we're going to come back down, and then we should go back up again, maybe before 4th of July. But choice cuts down 110 at 269.44. Selects down 63 cents at 246.82. Your slaughter, not as aggressive as a huge week last week, but not bad. 242,000 through the first 2 weeks, first 2 days of this week. 9,000 less than last week at this time, but 3,000 more than the same week a year ago. Talk about what else is going on. Are you looking for a genetic change? Limousine and LimFlex take you full circle, now focusing on feed efficiency, superior yield grade, improved marbling, and calving ease. For more information, go to NALF.org. Let's talk about your feeder cattle market. Your real-time index on DV auction late in the day on Tuesday sitting at 161.35. That was up 11 cents, just down one day, because our Monday daily RTI was down 22 cents. Now Tuesday back up 11 cents. So even though we're getting some resistance to these higher prices on feeder cattle, the runs are getting really light. A lot of sales are in a kind of a summer break, or going to an alternate schedule every other week, or maybe even once a month. Not a lot of cattle available for sale, and won't be too many until we start getting into some of these big summer videos. But a lot of those cattle won't be for current delivery. They'll be for later summer delivery, so they won't help to fill immediate slots in your feedlots. And these cattle are looking to have a chance to make some money if we can keep the cost of gains reasonable, which is tough, I know, whenever we've got corn, you know, at $8 cash or more with a plus basis in most areas, even up there in Omaha, Council Bluffs. We're dealing with a plus basis there at the already elevated Chicago Board of Trade corn futures. But look at some of your big sales on Tuesday, which are traditionally big, but Ozarks Regional Stockyards in West Plains, Missouri, just 1,800 head, which is nothing for them. Had another 360 on their in-house video they do with DV auction there, but just not enough of any one class there to fully test the market. And my buddy Dan Hill does a good job reporting that market. Said it's just hot. It's oppressive heat. We talked about that in the Joplin area on Monday. It's just hot. And then he even quoted in his market report, legendary market reporter that was in West Plains for so many years there, and my late good friend there, Dave Smith. And when it was this time of year, he'd say, livestock movement mostly towards the shade. And that's true, because people can't get excited about buying feeder cattle when their tongues are hanging out, guys. But some of your other big sales, how about Beaver County Stockyards? Told you they were going to have a bunch of those big yearling steers, and they did. 11 loads of yearling feeder steers weighing from 880 to 1,000 pounds, and they sold from 154.10 to 159.50. They had a good test of the same weights of yearlings last week, and this week's yearlings were straight up $5 to $7 higher than just a week ago in Beaver, Oklahoma. How about some individual quotes? Bluegrass Stockyards, Lexington, Kentucky, the flagship location there, on Tuesday sold 73 head, 624 pound, likely yearling steers there, bring $180.80 a hundred. How about Tri-State Livestock Market, Abingdon, Virginia, sold 63 head, 808 pound steers at $159. Good chance those cattle went up to Pennsylvania to feed. I was talking to a guy here in Ogallala that knows the situation out there. Because of the lack of chickens out there in those chicken houses, they've got the cheapest corn available for feeding livestock, and those guys out there in Pennsylvania are able to get some of the cheapest cost of gains in the country right now. Talk about your best quote that I saw anywhere on Tuesday. Your National Beef Wire top quote for the day comes out of Denny Rezac Livestock Commission Company, St. Mary's, Kansas. 63 head, 891 pound steers at $170 1/4. And that's your feeder flash for Wednesday.